Korea Blockchain Week is well underway in Seoul, and Forkast has been there on the ground, getting a feel for what the top names in the space really have on their minds. Now, while markets are still suffering from the effects of the crypto winter, the number of deals done in the venture capital space is up year on year. So we asked the experts at the event where that cash is going and what developments you should be looking out for in the blockchain space. Let's get you up to speed from Asia to the world.
Join thousands of NFT traders who already start their day on CryptoSlam.
Well, everyone wants to be at Korea Blockchain Week in Seoul right now. The sold-out event invited some of the biggest names in crypto, the likes of Vitalik Buterin and Changpeng Zhao, or CZ, as many of you know him, of Binance, to discuss the today and, more importantly, the tomorrow of the Web3 world. One of the key themes emerging is the role that blockchain gaming is playing in steering adoption of Web3. Forkast's Danny Park was there and has this special report.
Let's set the scene first. South Korea is big on blockchain. Not only is it Korea Blockchain Week this week, the BITO conference hit Seoul last week. Gaming is also a big deal here, as these attendees explain.
So after school, students, they go to PC방 to play StarCraft with their friends.
We played many RPG games. I forgot the names, but I did many games. And when I go to the school or institute, and then I play a game and stop and come back home and I play again. So I have lots of experience about the game.
For me, it was like 4 hours to 6 hours just playing StarCraft. Basically, every Koreans, they're playing games because there's, like I said, there's nothing much to do in childhood. So in Korea, there's some strict regulations regarding monetizing in games. So we called it gambling games. It's not exactly gambling, but if you get if you earn money from game, that means that activity can classified as a gambling. But definitely Korea can be the industry leader since we have very strong demand in Korea, as well as promising gaming companies in Korea.
It's hardly surprising then that one key theme highlighted at Korea Blockchain Week is the growth of blockchain gaming. Forkast spoke with some key industry players at the event, getting their thoughts on where things are headed next and how that could shape the future of Web3.
I will use the term blockchain games. I don't like the play to earn. It's a not good terminology, I think, because we have been watching the user behavior. They don't play to earn. They play and earn. So I prefer player and earn. So I prefer to use the neutral terminology, blockchain games. Blockchain games is our top priority. I believe that where can the cryptocurrency be used? The question will be answered by games, and the cryptocurrencies will flourish in games.
Out of any market, the reason that we first looked at gaming was it had a clear analogous demand in the real world. People bought every year $100 billion worth of in-game items they had zero property rights to. They regularly got screwed over by gaming publishers when they switched up the terms and when they could trade it, what the value is worth inside a video game, and taking that and turning that into property that people have actual rights to, actual custody over, and all of the new game design mechanics that we've now opened up, which is sort of composable finance, third-party financial incentives, so people build marketplaces or websites or deck builders or parts of this ecosystem. The invention of guilds, which has kind of flipped performance marketing on its head, I think are all reasons why gaming is not just the biggest immediate use case, but we're actually going to take that $100 billion and we're going to pretty quickly transform it into a much, much bigger economy overnight.
About 17 years ago, at that time there was a very big happening. Some gambling games were very popular. So many Korean people gamble everywhere in the corner of the neighborhood. So Korean government banned all the games from making money. So I think that it's too old style, too old. So new government, the current government will modify the laws according to the current situation.
Regulation is going to be a very interesting piece of Web3 gaming over the next few years. Part of the reason I was motivated to move into this part of the crypto industry is that it was much cleaner from a regulation perspective than sort of cryptocurrencies or DeFi, where you're sort of touching on, I think, things that the SEC cares about a lot more, or a much more sort of borderline products. Ultimately, if you're building a high utility game where players are buying something because they want to use it, you're, I think, in much safer territory, and so is the perspectives of the vast majority of regulators worldwide.
사실 국내 규제 환경에 좀 아쉬운 점은 뭐냐면 해보고 나서 나중에 좀 문제가 있는 부분을 막아도 될 것 같은데 처음부터 못하게 하는 부분이 있어서 결국은 새로운 아이디어나 새로운 가능성이 잘 발현되지 않는 게 조금 아쉬운 점이라서 지금의 이제 뭐 프로젝트들 국내에서 하기 힘들더라도 저희가 많은 프로젝트들에 대해서 시도를 해보면 국내가 아니더라도 해외 유저들은 해볼 수 있으니까 그런 걸 통해서 좋은 레퍼런스를 만들고 좋은 유즈 케이스를 만들면 사실 그게 국내 규제를 만드는 데 있어서 좀 더 영향이 주고 레퍼런스가 될 수 있을 것 같아서 그게 이제 오히려 생각하는 기대하는 선순환 사이클입니다. 그래서 왜냐하면 아무것도 안 해보면 이걸 어떻게 만들지, 뭘 어떻게 규제를 했을 때 좋을지가 더 알기 어렵잖아요. 근데 다양한 유저 경험이 있고 다양한 서비스들의 경험이 있다고 하면 그거 자체가 인풋이 돼서 한국 정부나 아니면 뭐 게임을 관리하는 이제 그런 쪽에서 적합한 규제를 만드는데 더 도움이 되지 않을까? 그렇게 그냥 긍정적으로 생각합니다.
Korean market is the fourth market and it consists of about 4% of the global gaming market. So compared to the whole market, it's not so big. So major markets, Japanese and US and other South Asian emerging markets don't have the law banning blockchain games. So I think that we have to focus our energy and our resources on the markets who don't ban the games. The public has a negative thinking on games, and I'm saying that if we make a poll on do you want the blockchain game legal in Korea, or do you want to make money from games, I believe that over 90% disagree. They insisted that the banning should be kept. But just only by games, I think we can persuade them, or we can persuade the public. But metaverse, many people like metaverse, so it's needed for growing metaverse. It's a very good cause, and we will. I'm trying the government or the public. We will lift the ban to grow our metaverse or metaverse industry.
가장 큰 차별성은 결국은 뭐 이게 그냥 메타버스 자체도 그냥 메타버스 그냥 가상의 공간이라고 하면 차별점이 없을 수 있는데 결국은 이게 웹3나 아니면 블록체인과 같이 결합돼서 거기에 있는 뭐 메타버스 내 뭐 아이템이라든가 아니면 어떤 컨텐츠라 같은 게 결국은 유저들 그리고 크리에이터들이 소유하고 같이 사용할 수 있냐, 그러니까 그들이 거기서 어떤 경제를 만들어낼 수 있냐가 가장 큰 차이인 것 같아요. 지금의 큰 뭐 MMORPG든 그런 거는 게임 내 경제가 있긴 하지만 거기서 내가 들인 고생이, 들인 노력이 뭔가 나의 자산이 되거나 내 것이 정말 되려고 하면 결국 게임 밖에 나와서 어떤 서드파티 시장이나 아니면 좀 그런 다른 데서 이렇게 좀 현금화를 하거나 하는 그런 일들이 벌어지고 있잖아요. 근데 그걸 다 알면서도 우리가 인정을 안 하는 거는 결국은 올바른 건가 라는 거에 대한 퀘스천이 있고, 사실 메타버스가 가능성이 있는 건 사실 우리가 뭐 이런 코로나를 겪으면서 가상의 세계에서 활동을 하고 시간을 보내는 게 많아지는데 그럼 거기서도 경제 활동을 할 수 있냐라는 측면에서 그러면 경제 활동을 가능하게 하는 기술이 무엇이고 그런 환경이 무엇이냐라고 하면은 뭐 웹3나 이런 것들, 블록체인이 그걸 가능하게 만들 수 있는 기술이 아닐까라고 생각을 해서 그런 게 같이 결합된다고 하면 메타버스가 단순히 그냥 3D 환경, 뭐 그냥 가상 환경이 아니고 여기서 정말 생활하면서 뭔가 새로운 가치를 만들어낼 수 있는 공간이 될 수 있을 것 같아서 그렇다고 하면 단순히 그냥 즐거움을 주는 게임과 비교해서 조금 더 가치를 만들어내는 환경이 되지 않을까라고 생각합니다.
Seems like it's time to unlock those metaverse possibilities. In Seoul, South Korea, I'm Danny Park, Forkast.
A special report from on the ground at Korea Blockchain Week there. Thanks, Danny, for that. And that's your daily forecast from Asia to the world. Follow us on Twitter for the latest updates at Forkast_News and head to our website as well for more details on all of today's stories and more. I'm Forkast Editor-in-Chief Angie Lau. Until the next time.